Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be ranking all 9 hybrids from the Jurassic franchise, alright? Some of them you might know, like the Indominus Rex or the Distortus Rex, which, in case you don't think it's a hybrid, we'll get to that when we get to them. But others you might not know, like the Stegoceratops or the Scorpius Rex. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the Indominus Rex. Now, obviously, this was kind of a hybrid that started it all. It was a hybrid in the Jurassic World movie. It's kind of like the first hybrid that the public really knew about. It's also arguably the coolest one. I mean, first off, it kind of brought down an entire park. Like this park, Jurassic World, was like well managed and well maybe not well managed, but it had been functioning well as a theme park for several years until this thing got out. So it literally took this thing a day to wipe out the park. So yeah, that on its own is like a crazy enough feat. I mean, and the fact is that this is still the most well-known and most popular hybrid out of the entire Jurassic franchise. So when you think of hybrid, you're probably thinking of the Indominus Rex. That's just how much of an impact this thing had. So obviously, it's going to go up into S tier. What's not going into S tier, though, is the Stegoceratops. Now, you might be saying, wait a minute, Scorp, I don't remember seeing this guy in a movie. And you would be right, because technically, you didn't really see them. You only really saw the Spinoceratops. No, my bad. The Stegoceratops. We'll get to Spinoceratops later. You only saw the Stegoceratops on screen for like a few seconds. There's this little sequence in the visitor center when the evil bad guy's talking, whatever, and then there's like 3 hybrids that kind of popped up on screen, which the other 2 will be coming up next, which we don't really have a name for. But we do have a name for Stegoceratops, and the original plan for Stegoceratops was to appear in a movie, like actually real life. So the director thought that another hybrid wouldn't really, or kind of take away from the Indom's value, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it was removed, even though I feel like maybe just like a scene with them in the background could have sufficed or something like that. But they didn't do that, and they haven't appeared in a movie since, sadly. Now, the design for the Stegoceratops, it's really cool. I like it. However, it's a tier lower because it hasn't actually like appeared as an alive thing in the movie. So I'm gonna have to put it into C tier. The design is that good. It is a really good design for Stegoceratops, I think. But again, it just hasn't actually appeared as a living thing, and neither has the unknown Therizinosaur hybrid. Now, this is a similar deal with the Stegoceratops. It only appeared on like a computer screen for like a second or two. So yeah, not much going for it. However, I will give it this. It does look pretty cool. It kind of has like some kind of a Margosaur sails on its back, and also kind of like some Dilophosaur frill on like its neck. So it does look pretty cool. But like we haven't even seen this thing in like Jurassic World Evolution. We've seen the Stegoceratops in that, but we haven't even seen this thing. So like, I don't know, man. It's cool, but you might be thinking E tier is a little bit low, but at the same time, like you can only see half of this thing's body on the computer screen before it flashes to something else. So like, I feel like E tier is pretty fair for a creature that literally you can't even see the full design of. So we're gonna move on to the unknown Pachycephalosaur hybrid. Now, again, same thing with the last 2, was in Jurassic World and barely appeared on screen. But I don't know, this design is it's just weird, dude. It's like, it kind of has like a little sail on its back, like an Archaeopteryx, but I don't know, it kind of just looks like a Pachycephalosaurus with like weird hands and stuff. It looks very ugly. We're gonna have to put it into F tier. And of course, same reasoning, hasn't actually appeared as a living creature, and we don't even have an actual name for it, so F tier it's gonna go. What's not going in F tier though is the Scorpius Rex. Now, this thing is ugly. It is a ugly monster, and that's kind of like the point they were trying to go for. Like this thing was like the first hybrid in the timeline wise, maybe other than the D-Rex. We didn't really know exactly, but this was like at the time, this was like the first hybrid in the timeline of the franchise. Essentially, Dr. Wu created this thing, realized, hey, this thing's a mistake, so they froze it. And then later on in the show, or the series, after the fall of Isla Nublar, some compies chomped on some wires, and the electricity powering the frozen thing broke, and this thing escaped. Now, first off, it's got a face only a mother could love, I guess. I don't even think, not even its own mother, Dr. Wu, loved this thing, so you can't even say that for this. But I can't lie. The design, it is pretty cool. I can't lie to you. It's ugly, but it's like it's meant to be ugly, you know? Like, some things aren't really meant to be ugly. Some dinos aren't meant to be ugly, but they are. But this thing, like, the whole point is to be a Frankenstein monster, and it does that pretty well. I mean, you know, it's kind of like very psychotic, I guess you could say. Like it's like if it sees fire, it kind of gets distracted in the show. It has some poisonous quills that can shoot off at creatures. I mean, it took down a Brachiosaurus, so that on its own is pretty cool. And then also it can asexually reproduce, so it can just, you know, divide, I guess, into a new organism like cells can. So that is also giving it some points in the ranking. But I will say the fact that it saw, like, after it asexually reproduced and there was two of them, they fought each other. And that's how they died. All right, because they were in the old visitor center for Jurassic Park, and they fought each other, and then the building collapsed, and that's how they perished. Which, I don't know, that kind of brings them down. Because, like, imagine being this crazy monster of a beast, and then you just off yourself to yourself, if that makes sense. That's like you. Let's take you, John. All right, you know, you kind of create a clone of yourself, and then, you know, you have all these magical abilities. Okay, let's put it this way. Let's say like Superman, okay? Superman makes a clone of himself. He fights each other. They fight each other, and then they die in like a building or something. I don't know. It should have fought like a T-Rex or something. So we're gonna put it into C tier, because at the end of the day, you don't really want to see this thing. It is an ugly monster. So we're gonna put it into C tier and move on to something that isn't quite an ugly monster. It's still a monster, but not really an ugly one. That being the Indoraptor. Now, I do like the Indoraptor, but I also don't like it. The design is pretty cool. How it is in the movie is pretty cool, but I don't know. It's literally just a smaller Indominus Rex. Like, they could have done something completely different for the second movie as a hybrid, but they just chose smaller Indominus Rex, which that's just kind of boring. I can't lie to you. It is kind of boring. It is a cool design. I can't lie. It is a cool design. I guess the idea of a concept behind it is that you have a gun, and there's a laser on the gun, and you point the laser, and Indoraptor eats that thing. First off, if you're pointing a gun at someone and you want them to be eaten or offed, you would just fire the gun. I mean, I guess a dinosaur is kind of cooler to use, but at the same time, like, it doesn't really make that much sense. However, I will give it some bonus points, because there's the guy in the movie. He snuck into the Indoraptor cage because he wanted one of its teeth, and the Indoraptor knew that, and it smiled. All right, this fucker was like, oh, this guy's trying to pull my teeth. Oh, he's cooked. You know, he's just smiling, waiting to eat that guy. Which, I don't know, I can't lie, that was pretty, I guess, terrifying. Maybe not really terrifying, but you kind of get what I'm going for. That's definitely giving it some points. So we're gonna put it into B tier, because it's definitely better than the Stegoceratops and the Scorpius, but it's not beating the Indom and whatever else we have up there. So we're going to put it into B tier, the Indoraptor, and we're going to move on to the Spinoceratops. Now, first off, this is the first actual herbivorous hybrid in this franchise, which is kind of dumb. It's literally just a Spinoceratops with a Spinosaurus sail. However, they do look very cute as babies, and they are cool. They're cool enough designs, but I just wish we got something else, you know? Like I feel like, but your Ceratops, the Ceratopsian hybrids are like, ooh, like everyone plays them and like, oh, there's some kind of crazy thing because, you know, you have horns and you have something on the back. I don't know. I feel like imagine like a Brachiosaurus or something with Stegosaur plates running down or something. I feel like that'd be a lot more cooler than Spinoceratops. However, Spinoceratops, they're cute babies. They're cool in the show. I wish we saw what they looked like when they grew up, but we kind of didn't. They kind of were only babies, and we haven't really seen them since, which is kind of sad. I really, really want to see what they look like as grown-ups, which I guess if you've seen Jurassic World Evolution 2, which I might make a video on Jurassic World Evolution 2. If you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and all that jazz. We're trying to hit 10K before the end of the year, so go ahead and click that subscribe button, help a man out. Anyways, though, like I was saying, we haven't really seen an adult version of the Spinoceratops other than Jurassic World Evolution 2, which it's not really movie canon. It's kind of like its own thing. So, I don't know. If we saw what they looked like as adults, they would go higher, but we're gonna put them into B tier. I can't lie. I do like them as much as an Indoraptor. So we're gonna put them into B tier, and we're gonna move on to the Mutadon. Now, if you watched the Rebirth or a tier list, which I'm assuming you probably have, these guys suck, alright? Only John likes these guys. Only people named John like these guys. I get it. They look like dragons. That's cool. But this is a movie, I don't know, it's a movie about dinosaurs. Like, out of all the flying creatures they picked, they decided, oh, let's just make a hybrid. Let's make something that couldn't actually fly, which I get it. This movie isn't really based that much, these movies aren't really based much on realism. But at the same time, man, like, the name is Mutadon, and they're hybrids. Like, these are literally hybrids. You can argue that the D-Rex is like an actual mutant, but the Mutadons, the things named after mutation, are hybrids, which... There's a certain scene in a movie, and it says, if you don't believe me, there's a certain scene in a movie that's like Velociraptor. There's like Mutadon hybrid, something like that. Should be an image on screen. Yeah, literally, their name is Mutadon, and they're hybrids. Like, they could have made them like Honestly. They didn't need to have them fly. They don't need to fly. If they got rid of the flying part, it would be a lot better. It is a decent enough design though, I can't lie, but I don't know, it's just, I feel like a Utah raptor, like a little bit of an oversized, there's a different dinosaur, someone said. It was like some kind of mega raptor sort of deal. That would have been cool too. There's concept art of these guys actually looking more like T-Rexes, like little T-Rexes, which would be cool too. But I don't know, I've read that they had the D-Rex design down pretty early on into the production of the movie, but the Mutadons they kind of struggled on, and I understand why, because I don't know. It's literally just like an I don't know creature. Like, what is this sort of deal? Which I guess you could say about some of these creatures, but the Mutadons, I don't even know. They're cool, I guess, but like compared to everything else, they have to go in D tier, dude. I can't lie. Moving on, though. Something else that starts with a D, that being the Distortus Rex. Now, this one's kind of a mixed bag for a lot of people, because some people really don't like it, and some people, including myself, really love it, or really do like it. I'm guessing the reason why some people don't like it is the kind of beluga-looking head, which, honestly, it's not even that bad. It looks funny, it looks goofy, but in the movie, it was pretty terrifying, you can't lie, and it does give off the vibe of a mutant, which... obviously this is kind of a close call for this video considering it's a hybrid tier list, but I don't know, I'm pretty sure that this isn't like an actual mutant T-Rex, because like they've had T-Rexes down since the 90s, and this thing was probably created in like the 2010s. They've made plenty of T-Rexes before this thing, so why would they just now would they have mutated T-Rexes, you know? I'm pretty sure this was like a pre-attempt at like an Indominus Rex or something like that, which I'm hoping it is. That alone does bring it up pretty high. But again, that's not really confirmed or nothing like that. But I don't know, just based off the scenes that we saw in the movie and the size of this thing, this being the largest, like, carnivorous thing in the franchise, other than, like, the Mosasaur, does give it some points, I can't lie. And, of course, the design, and obviously the name, Distortus Rex. That's going to give it some points. So I can't lie, I have to put the D-Rex into A tier, I can't lie. It's definitely better than the Indoraptor in the Spinoceratops, but it's not beating the Indominus Rex. And that is the end of today's video. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, obviously like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that jazz. Again, we're trying to hit 10K before the end of the year, but in case you don't do that, and in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.